Hey everyone, third science champ in a row with Spider-Punk. The wheel really likes science champs for some reason. But this one, I actually quite like that it's done this. Because obviously, if you've watched the last two, or if you haven't, go see them. We've looked at Sandman and Lizard, and now we're looking at Spider-Punk. Three science Ascension champs in a row. It's quite a nice, triple to be able to be like, okay, so who should you actually rank out of the three? And personally, I think that Spider-Punk falls slap bang in the middle of them both. I think that Sandman is the best of the three. I think that Lizard is okay. Obviously, if you have Ascension 2, he's a little bit better. But I think that Spider-Punk slides right in the middle there. He has some very solid utility, some very niche things that I find about by trying him out for the first time, because I've never played this guy. And just in general, he's solid. That's the thing I'd say about Spider-Punk. He is generally very, very solid. You know, he doesn't really have many RNG factors. He doesn't really have anything that, requires some incredibly weird playstyle. He's just a generic, solid champion. So, starting off, we're going to show the first little bit of utility. Spider-Punk is Rupture immune. So here we are going to fight the 3 Werewolf by Nights in a row. The immune thing will probably pop up every now and again if I parry something, but yeah, let's go into what his rotation is. So there's a couple things to know about Spider-Punk. The first thing is his Encore. And essentially you've just seen that because Wolf threw an SB1, he has an Encore passive on him. Basically, at max sig, if the opponent throws the same special twice in a row, they will get a Rupture on them. So, yeah, if you want them to throw the same special attacks, preferably. The second thing to know is that you apply physical vulnerabilities up to 2 on Intercept. And Spider-Punk also has one of those evade stuns on parry, which counts as an Intercept. So, you have physical vulnerabilities and Ruptures. Good start. Next, what do you actually want to do in the fight? So, you're intercepting, but what do you actually want to do in terms of specials and stuff? From what I've found, it is pretty much just throw SB2. In short fights especially, it is just get up to your SB2, have your 2 physical vulnerabilities on, pop it, and you'll do a good amount of damage. You can refresh these physical vulnerabilities with a heavy. The heavy will also inflict a taunt, which is nice. But there's something interesting to note about Spider-Punk, specifically for BGs, and it's to do with this charge on the left that I have been slowly gaining. So, basically, Spider-Punk, this is a cross fight for Spider-Punk. If you're in a long quest, you will take half of it. It's your crowd excitement. It's called crowd excitement. You will take half of your crowd excitement to the next fight. And the ways to gain this crowd excitement is by using your evade stun on parry, and then you also want to be dexing special attacks, and especially projectiles, because obviously that is way easier to do. So essentially you want to be dexing specials and then using your evade stun. And basically what this does is, as that builds up in the fight, you will deal more damage from your Ruptures. You will it's literally as simple as that. You build up that, you do more damage, simple as that. Which brings up another part about Spider-Punk of, okay, what if I'm in BGs? I don't want to be, ramping up. I don't have time to ramp up. Fine. You start at 150 crowd excitement in BGs. Given that it maxes out at 300, and in most of these fights against BGs levels opponents, I start at 0 and still nearly killing an SB2, that is a good little benefit to really get fights over the line. It's very nice. I'm a big fan of it. You can see the immune to Rupture. But now on to the SB3. What does the SB3 do? Well, the main thing it does is it gives 3 Ruptures and gives you a load of your crowd excitement. So in a longer fight like this, you might want to go to an SB3 to really get your crowd excitement maxed out, and then you want to be spamming those SB2s. Again, that's a hell of a lot of yap. It's a lot of utility. It's a lot of good utility. He's a very solid champion. Good for long form, good for short form. Decent utility. He has taunt, physical vulnerabilities, Rupture immunity, and he uses Rupture, which, not many champs are immune to Rupture, so that's good. When your crowd excitement is high enough, you will have an unstoppable on your SB2, which is great. There's taunt on the heavy. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot to utilize with this guy. You can see this 1.5 mil health Werewolf by Night is literally about to die. And you've been seeing on the SB2, there is a little mini game of swiping up or down. It is very easy to do. It's quite lenient. It is literally just watch it go run, swipe up or down, pretty chilled out, you get a damage bonus. So yeah, that big Werewolf by Night, about a minute and a half. So yeah, very, very, very solid champion. Now we're just going to do the usual and spam a shit ton of fights of like a BG's health pool. So starting off against this Mojo. Mojo has negative physical resistance anyway, so with these vulnerabilities, Spider-Punk hits like an absolute truck. Yeah, very good matchup for him. Again, if you dex the SB2, that gives you a load of crowd excitement too. Dash down, down, and then up, and you can see he is going to melt away from those ruptures and the additional combo hits. So yeah, very fast fight, and that is obviously, again, without the starting at 150 crowd excitement, because this isn't BG's. So it can be even faster. It can go even better than that. Next up, we've got Kindred. And again, this is a relatively simple fight. The main thing to worry about with Spider-Punk, like the only kind of difficulty in his kit, is getting the intercepts off for the physical vulnerabilities. Everything else kind of falls into place and is very simple for, you know, your average player. But one thing that is nice about Spider-Punk for Kindred specifically is obviously that taunt on heavy. Sometimes Kindred does not want to throw that SB1 and can really mess you up. We just completely remove the threat of that happening. So here at the end of the fight, we build up to our 1 bar again, and he dies. For anyone wondering what the SB1 does if you was to throw it, if you have ruptures on the opponent, it will consume all those ruptures and inflict instant bursts of rupture. It's a little extra damage boost if your ruptures are about to expire, but it's better if you're in a fight where you're not going to kill them from one SB2. I would just keep circling SB2s instead of using the SB1. Now onto Destroyer to show another bit of utility. Now obviously Destroyer dashes at you with an unstoppable. Because Spider-Punk's evade also includes a hit, we will deactivate that unstoppable for periods of time and not get smacked by him. So yeah, great Destroyer counter, great counter for any of those champs like Mighty Charge related who usually don't let you hit them straight away. Down, down, up again, dex the SB2, and now the fight is pretty much over. We're just going to combo Relic combo. And, yeah, use that SB1, and he dies. So, yeah, another piece of nice utility he has, the champs that have those, like, evade counters on parry are always very utile. You know, it's a great piece of utility for any intercept node, because it counts for that. If you need to get around the opponent being nasty on dashing, it's really good. It's a really nice bit of utility. And obviously that's the same on defense. You know, there was a little period of time where Spider-Punk was genuinely being placed on Alliance War defense on 2.5.2, the Mighty Charge Ebb and Flow Fury node. Ebb and Flow intercept node, because you can't intercept him unless you are able to get off a like a cold snap or an ensnare or something like that. So yeah, onto this Nico here, and you can see she has thrown 2 SB1s in a row, so she got a rupture on her because of the encore. We now throw our SB2, and you can see it's doing a hell of a lot of damage. She throws her SB2. I would have obviously preferred if she didn't do that, and I got smacked slightly there. So we lost a little bit of health, but the time still remains. Just don't eat an SB2 in your fight. It's crazy how the world works. Next up, we have got Rintra, and this is another champ that can go relatively well, because, you know, we've got these very easy opportunities to stun, and we are stunning and getting the physical vulnerability at the same time, you know, just increasing that efficiency of the fight if you're in, like, a BG scenario. Especially for someone like Rintra, who is a chunky bastard. You really need that efficiency in a fight like this. So, yeah. Really good to be able to have it. He's thrown 2 SB1s, so Encore just did its work. Into our SB2 we go. Does a decent amount of damage with the ruptures, and he is ticking down quite nicely now. He's taking, like, what is that, like 4k DPS per tick? So, not DPS, 4k dots per tick. And he goes down with a heavy attack. 44 seconds for Rintra, not bad at all. But now let's move on to some other classes and some other nice bits of... I mean, it's the same utility, but some other champs it's nice for. First of all, Onslaught. You can use this evade to get a very easy opening against Onslaught. You're also all physical damage, so, you know, it's not like there's some energy dot gonna dick you somewhere. But yeah, you can fight Onslaught very well with Spider-Punk. You can be more aggressive like I am, going for normal intercepts. Or you can just purely rely on the evade intercept. Like there, I use the evade intercept to get a nice little counter in. Yeah, very, very decent counter for Onslaught, you know. This is the thing about Spider-Punk. When you go outside of class advantage, he's not going to be the fastest champion in the world. But what he will be is a very solid option to bring. Decently utile, so for something like a BG's deck, or if you are needing him in questing, you know, for a particularly long quest, you can get a lot done. You know, like, especially if, like, time is not your main concern in something like questing, this guy is one of the more utile options you can bring. And he is quite fun to play. I've never played him before, like I said. I did have a decent bit of fun playing with this guy. Next up, we've got Zola, and we're going to abuse that utility again of the stun to be able to get our heavies off. So, yeah, really nice thing to be able to do. Again, you know, just showing more utility, more meta defenders just getting smacked. So, yeah, really nice here. So, we get that evade off into the heavy, takes down. And also there's the taunt, so you know that Zola's going to throw his SB1, which is good because realistically against Zola, the SB2 is kind of a last resort, right? You know, because obviously it gives you that bit of disintegrate damage. Everyone prefers to keep Zola at those SB1s, just the Energize can get a bit much sometimes. Into our SB2 we go. Now, the hits won't do much damage, but those ruptures have got full damage. Again, like 4k dot at the moment. Encore again triggers because he threw another SB1. He's going to throw another SB1 here and re-trigger that Encore. I was going to try and get the evade off into a heavy, but he decided to be a dick. Another SB1 comes in, Encore keep going, and then, yeah, he is dead. So, relatively good fight against Zola. Obviously, I got smacked once, but in general, another decent fight overall. Next up, we have got Sentinel, and obviously Sentinel does reduce the potency of, like, pretty much everything with his analysis charges. He's a bit weird like that. But especially with wanting to evade, you can play against Sentinel and not really build his analysis charges up much, if at all. You'll see in this fight that his analysis charges remain very low pretty much the whole way through. And another good thing is obviously because his ruptures is relatively good duration. Like, they're not the longest things in the world, but they do have good duration overall. It means that when he gets to his 20% armor phase, you will be able to kind of rely on the rupture damage while you're having to be more passive in the fight. So in we go again. Another SB1 fires off, so the Encore is just going a bit nuts now. And yeah, you can see this is the last 20%. He is going to die here with this SB1. The instant burst finally having like a very good effective use. So yeah, very good fight against Sentinel. Next up we have got Solvark. Again, the third champ in a row where we are all physical damage, and so we can be used for champs like Solvark, which is really nice to see. A lot of science champions do counter Solvark in relatively decent times with the additional bit of power from Ascension. And this is only Ascension level 1, you know, obviously there's Ascension level 2 to come later in this year as we get more and more Ascensions. Yeah, Solvark counters are going to open up quite a bit. Obviously, people will take Solvark to rank 5, but, you know, it's that, like, increasing power level that we're going to be dealing with for this whole year. So, the plan against Solvark is essentially just use his Energize against him. A bit like Zola, you know, he's going to be spamming those SB1s. giving himself so much of the encore, so many more ruptures. And you can see we're doing some very good damage overall. Like, is this the fastest fight in the world? Absolutely not. Are we doing good damage? Yeah. Are we taking much damage? No. You know, like, we have solid control over this fight. He goes to his SB2, which is fine. We are just going to build up to one more SB2 of our own, and that will just nuke him down from the little rest of the fight. Down, down, up. We've got the Unstoppable, so he can't really clap us. And then we go in and just deal the last little bit of damage to finish him off. So overall, I do quite like this guy. He's relatively fun to play, and his utility set is quite large, you know, with that evade, rupture immunity, the fact that he gains additional benefits in Battlegrounds is a nice bit of utility for that game mode. Yeah, I'm a pretty decent fan of Spider-Punk. Like I said, I think he slots between Lizard and Sandman in terms of, you know, those three science champs ranked against each other. We'll obviously save the bigger ranking for the end, but yeah, very solid. Like, that's one word to describe this guy. Very solid overall. There's nothing really wrong with the champion, which is quite good. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you all next time.